Yo, everybody. Welcome to the Market Recap Show. I just heard in my ear that this is the worst quarter since 2022 there for the broader markets. Q3, worst Q3 since 2022 there. Worst quarter, the past quarter since 2022. So that's ending right now today with, congratulations, Neil, it is a positive NASDAQ. It looks like the Qs today up 0.1 according to this. 0.11 right now on the NASDAQ. But hey, thank you so much for staying late with us. It is the recap show. I am Sean Katina, and yeah, we're gonna go over the market recap. As you can see right there, we do have Michael Noss coming up pretty soon. Wow, what a volatile day. That's where I want to start this show. We started the NASDAQ up like 1.5%. We were showing the imbalance locator. There was buys all day, every day. We're making fun. There was like some random ones as sells, but then all of a sudden there, midday, it really started to get going. The dollar, 11 straight weeks upside. Wow, and it does finish positive today. We can call the UUP right now. Let's do it. I mean, this is it. Here it is. This is a 3-minute chart. We don't want that. We want the daily just to talk about it. Look at this move, man. Straight to the upside. Basically, no pullbacks in this thing since July. It seems like you get one nasty red candle there. That might have been a Fed day, that I don't know what this day was, but the 29th of August anyways. Big move down on that day, but just gobbled it right back up over the next 3 days. And since then, man, it's been a nice move to the upside. So if you're long dollar strength, you are in control right now. Huge move to the upside there. And that sort of is what I was talking about when we're talking about the triple Qs, right? Let's just go over a 3-minute chart. Oops, that didn't work. Let's go over a 5-minute chart. That's still not working. Okay, what's going on? There we go, 5 minutes. Okay, so today, this is the nice start, right? We started out great. Huge moves, starting to break out some levels, looking real nice like that on the upside for the triple Qs, taking out levels above the 50-period moving average. And then let's go this way now. Look what happens when you break that on the 5-minute. This is a level that I talk about all the time on the show. 5 minutes, 5-minute chart, 50-period moving average. It breaks it, and then it doesn't see it again until the close, right? So what was a very, very volatile day? The NASDAQ itself moved over 250 points, top to bottom, and there it is, 362 top, down into 357. So the Qs alone, a nice $5 move today. Well done, Qs, well done. GG on that one. What does it mean when it's GG, no re? GG, no re. Thank you, Fabian, for that one. No replay on that. Although I'd love to replay today, because a day like today is a day that traders love, because there's volatility and you get the opportunity to fade tops and buy bottoms, and it actually worked, and we'll go over that in a minute. I'm surprised, man. Regional banks have been looking pretty bad. Huge downside push off regional banks. They almost got back to the 200 period. Look, it hasn't been the same since Silicon Valley and First Republic. They came in at this $60 mark, and then it was just bang down into the bottom, and then the Fed came. Here they come to save the day. The Fed came, not the Fed, sorry, the U.S. government backed some of these banks, and Fed policy as well came through. Nice move to the downside there. I'm looking at a $40 give up for this. I like the KRE short through 40. I will probably be buying some puts on that play once we get through that $40 mark, because I just feel with the way yields are right now, there's going to have to be some mark to market, and I like KRE back down into the downside. FXI, the big Chinese ETF here, again, sort of hovering in the middle, not quite to 30, not quite to 25. What was bad today? Oh yes, perfect. Perfect opportunity for Mr. Michael Noss to come through here, because I want to get some clarification on what I'm supposed to do, because I've been waiting to raise capital here on XLE, and I was like, that's it. I'm going to just ream this. Like when he comes over here, I'll be like, what did you tell me? Because I wanted to get out up here, and we thought it was going to run higher. And of course, the best part about trading is you are in charge of your own portfolio. So I thought it was a runaway there. We talked about it possibly breaking some of these highs back in November. Let's just not take one day as anything, but that's a nice little candle back down. I feel like if XLE, we could just be patient with it. If it breaks 89, we get out, but then we've kind of missed $4 from that top side there. So I'll probably put an order in next week, somewhere around 93, to talk about XLE, because today they're down 2%. OIH, the oil services index as well. Tippy, look at this, right at the 50 period, we haven't crossed the 50 period since June on the OIH Oil Services ETF. So the other one is USO. Let's see where that is in relation to the 50. So this is oil itself. We know it's been on a run and it's just run away. So you're nowhere near the 50. If you're looking at oil, you have quite a pullback here. And again, this is just the United States oil fund. This isn't oil itself. So you're not looking at an actual price of $81 here for oil. So that's not coming through. What else do you guys want to look at? For me, the next most important topic is the semis. And you can see here with SMH. And by the way, this doesn't happen often. I came to work today this morning feeling like my throat was a problem. I was drinking tea. Now I actually feel completely fine. So what a difference a day makes sitting here. But I think when you're not when you're sick, but when you're not feeling well, mornings and evenings are the worst, right? So getting the energy from everybody here at Trader TV and all the viewers, man, definitely helped me a little bit here today. And we've still got some energy now. So let's take a quick sip of this vodka. When I was in Moscow, here's a story time. You guys want story time? So I flew down over to Moscow when I was just a wee one for Day Trade the World, and I was opening up offices, and I met such an amazing, his name's Mikhail, so shout out to you. I believe he still owns a couple offices with Day Trade the World, but and he had one, and we were opening up another one, and I remember that it's in the evening when you're trading there, so it was like pretty sketchy. I was at a hotel, I was getting picked up every day, it was great, back into the office, so on and so forth, but then one night, I think we must have gone out after, so it must have been in the morning at some point, but we went to this bar, and we were all sitting around, and there's some traders and the owners, and everybody was there, and I was probably 24, 25 years old, and basically, we sat down, and we were eating it was like a Russian, he's like, okay, we got to do this right, Russian style, you know? So we were there's borscht and all this, I don't know, pork and all this kind of stuff was come through. What do you cook, like kimchi, but Russian style there? So that was all around, and we were eating some cabbage and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, honestly, jugs way bigger than this was like dropped on the table, and it was just poured in water cups. Right? And I'm like, great, finally, like we had been drinking or whatever. I'm like, okay, finally, like some water has arrived, you know? Anyway, so they poured it all out, and I was just like, okay, cheers, man. You know, so, and I think they didn't do this on purpose. I was just like, do. I was like, and it was straight vodka. And then I was just like, what? Because they brought vodka in these huge glass water jugs. Like they must have been like a gallon jug or something like that. And I was like, what? And then they were just pouring it in everybody's cup as if it was water. I'll never forget that. I chugged there. Thankfully, nothing came up, and that would have been pretty nasty if that would have happened. But shout out to my friends there. I guess now, I don't know, is there still bans? I guess you can't get into Russia now, so. Maybe we'll visit there, probably not ever again, but shout out to everybody in Russia there. I had a fantastic time. Another thing about Russia was, before Uber, like this is what I'm talking about 20 years ago when I was there, you could just flag down, and the guy told me to do this. Thank God I was with the guy, so I don't know what they would have, like I was just, generic guy, not from Russia. And you could wave down cabs, not cabs, just common cars. Like the guy was just like waving it down, and it was like, where are you going? And the guy was like, oh, over there. So I was like, oh, can I come in? Boom, fine. The guy would hand him like $5, and you could go into any car. So shout out to the Russians there for sort of starting Uber naturally there. I thought it was pretty dangerous, but okay. The guy said, as long as you get into like a Mercedes or something, you're probably fine. So I was like, okay, I'm still not doing it without any backing there, but we did that. That was fun back in my young days. Russia was a jam, man. We went to some casinos there as well. Whew, man, to be young again, that is for sure. What else do you want to talk about today? Gold down 1%. Oh, speak about stories. Michael, if you're listening, I'm going to ask you for one story from Vegas. That's it. Something very, very basic. You don't have to spill the beans and whatever you want, man. It was interesting to hear that you were there with Brian. Brian was on this show on Tuesday. He's now a regular, baby, as is Michael Noss. We want to say a big shout out to Trade Ideas and everybody for supporting. I mean, this great piece of software, honestly, that we have here every single day. You can get 20% off with Trade Ideas. Very easy to use the charts, and I want to thank Michael for explaining all that to me on how to do this and actually building this layout for me as well. Okay, TAN's interesting because I really like end phase. This is another name that I think I've talked about this with Michael or our various guests as well. This is at the bottom, man. ENPH, and this is a rates play, right? It's very expensive to pay for solar and this technology. A lot of businesses have to do this not by borrowing. So that apparently it's a rates issue. When that gets all figured out, Reliable Rudy, if you're in the chat, you're all over Enphase, so you can probably explain that a little bit better than me. I like the IBB as well. I feel like biotech is another spot that we need to get our money back into. We've seen Moderna flying around a little bit. I've never bought the IBB, but this is at a nice tipping spot as well right there. So, okay, I did want to talk about Nike, so let's go over to the next topic real quick. I'll just push it over there. We had Daniel Shea on yesterday, and live on the show, and I want to shout out to Dan McIsaac, and I believe the individual's name was Jonathan this morning. I said yesterday at about 2 o'clock that I felt that Nike on our afternoon show, Nike's been beat up so badly on the day that I thought that any sort of a good talk, good conversation about inventories there would spike this name. And it turns out that the sun shines on a dog's rear every once in a while, and yesterday that was the case for your boy, because there it is, a nice upside move. And again, thank you for all the kind words, but it's you guys that put on the trade. Someone said they made it was you, Dan, 300% on the calls for Nike there today. Good move up, but what? It held 95 pretty good all day, so we'll see if Nike can continue to hold that 95. There was another name that reported, BlackBerry, on watch there. We didn't cover this today on the show. BlackBerry flat, down 0.63. They did have earnings yesterday, and don't worry about it, Ramin. That's perfectly fine for today, but hey, I like it. Thank you. As you just did it right there. So some more plays coming through there for BlackBerry, bouncing off the 200 period. I like that. I think BlackBerry is still a buyout play. I think it was Veritas came through and talked about taking a stake in them. I'm not sure. It must have been down there at 450. So again, thank you so much for watching again today. A quick little roll call. I know I always save that for the end, but let's just do it quickly right now. Who's in the chat? If you're here, you're here. There's Dan McIsaac. Yo, what's up, Dan? I guess it was you, right, Dan, that took those calls. So good job on that one. And there it is. Yeah, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Correct on that one, that's for sure. Ponzi Fonzie, what's up, my guy? Peace to you as well. John, everyone, Dr. Strange is here. Rivian, yes. I remember when Rivian announced that plant in Georgia. That was a pretty good catalyst as well. And I feel like U.S. strong, right? You want to have more plants built in the United States. So shout out to those guys. And I know that it's going through some problems with Ford and the UAW and GM and Stellantis, but shout out to all my American friends out there. Obviously, stay strong, whether or not you're in the union or you're working for Tesla or any of these other guys. We need the automotive sector, man. So stay strong no matter what side of that you're on, man. I love it when you call me Big Papa, says Zion. So it's a little bang on that one right now. Oh, did you hear the news? Somebody finally spilled the beans, and after 1996, 06, 16, 26, -3. So it looks like after 27 years, there has finally been an arrest made in Thug Life. Tupac, arrest made in his murder. So we'll find out what's going on with that. West Side, right now, West Side is the best side, although I'm more about East Coast rap myself. But I still like Snoop Dogg and Dre and all that. You know, shout out to the Game, everybody that's over there as well. I like Nas and Wu-Tang and a little bit of Biggie Smalls. I listened to that new Puff Daddy. I don't know what's up with R&B these days, but pass on that one. And then, of course, the best of the... where does Eminem fall when you're from Detroit? Are you then just Central? Like, what is that? Kanye as well? I don't know, Midwest? Shout out to the Midwest rap scene as well. Okay, someone that knows a lot about rap. I'm sure he's ready to rock and roll. We're going to bring him on right now. Is he ready, guys? All right, it's Michael Knott. And look, I don't know if you guys know this. He probably is a big rap fan. Let's go bring him in. It's Trader Talk, my favorite segment. Mr. Nas, East Coast or West Coast rap?
Definitely East Coast.
Yeah.
I got to say, if I have to pick anyone, I'm a Tribe fan. Tribe Called Quest, just amazing. That 90s New York.
Yes,
yeah,
Outkast.
that's
like
where it's
Outkast. Okay, Tell me a little bit about Vegas, man. Congratulations, and you must have had a great time there. What was the event, first of all, and what hotel did you guys stay at?
So we stayed at the Wynn, and it was
Nice.
funny that a bunch of market technicians, everyone had to bring up the chart and how bad it looked,
Yeah.
and to not buy the
I
Wynn.
own Win. Actually, you like the Win? Let's talk about the Win chart after this. But the Win was there.
Sure.
It was a CMT event. I actually own that stock. I'm long at $80. We'll review that in a couple minutes. And I didn't sell any at the top, so look like a fool over here. Any quick 30-second story there? Did you have a good dinner anywhere or anything like that?
My 30-second story is I didn't go outside from the moment I hit the Wynn to the moment I left. It's wild the amount of stuff in all of those hotels. There's a mall, there's pools, there's everything. But I took the red eye down. I spoke at 2 events. There was the Mind Market Summit, which was by the Nigerian brothers for charity. That was a great one. And then a CMT event with FX Evolution. There was Brian Shannon there and David Keller and a whole bunch of big CMT names. It was fantastic. And by the time I knew it, everything was done. It was time to go back and take the red eye back. And I remember the first time I left the Wynn, it just finally hit me that I hadn't been outside in 2 days. It's crazy how they can keep you in there.
It is. It's amazing, eh? I mean, it's so they even have. I mean, I last stayed at the Venetian, and they put like a perfume in the air and everything, and it's like you don't want to leave. That was a great time. So thank you so much for joining us today. But I guess you're recouped now from all of that. So all right, what do you want to talk about? You gave us that trade today on Affirm. You sort of broke that out. Did you get triggered into that today at all? I can't remember what your levels were there. Was it $21 on Affirm?
Yeah, I got triggered in, and then it moved so far so fast. I took most of the profit out, thankfully, because it had dropped back down, and I'm looking Monday if it can get back over. Actually, I can bring this up on my screen here. I forgot I'm sharing screen. But yeah, so the Affirm was an anchored VWAP pullback. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite plays here, where you're just basically looking for this is basically what the anchored VWAP looked like at $20. Also, those prior highs there at $20. So when it gapped up, it triggered my stop limit. It ran all day, but then it actually came back and held pretty well into the close. Some relative strength, and on the 30-minute chart, holding these lows right here. So I'm going to put another stop limit somewhere in this area for Monday, see if I can get back in, because I'm looking for a multi-day hold here. But, if the market's going to give you, a 1.5, I'm not usually a day trader, but I'll definitely day trade if I see that.
Yeah, we were wondering, Neil and I were both wondering if you did get out of that trade, because it basically instantly went into the money for you. So congratulations on that one. And then what percentage of an out would you take there? Half, 75%? Does that differ, or what did you do in this situation?
Yeah, so generally speaking, it depends on market conditions. So if we're in a raging bull market, I'm generally trying to sell a third and hold 2/3 for a big move. If we're in an environment where we are now, where we've been pulling back for a while, things are a little bit choppier, I flip that, where I'll take 2/3 off the table and hold a third. So I still have a third of the position. But if we go again, instead of rebuying the full position, I will then I'll then add that I took off and be back to a full position, which depending on what happens with this shutdown, if you want to talk about that, I've got some numbers about that as well. It may be an interesting time over the weekend and into next week.
I know that we talked about, we talked about, I think this was a couple weeks ago for sure, that there was some problems underneath the hood. We talked about the relative strength ETF there with the SPY, and where you're looking at, where everyone was equal weighted, the RSP. And that's sort of come to fruition here. The NASDAQ down about 7% this month, and I think the S&P down 5% this month as well. But yeah, what about this government shutdown? I mean, I feel like it always gets resolved, but there's always some, even once it gets resolved, I feel like then they sort of bash the deal. I don't know. We haven't prepped this. So let's talk a little about it, because it is a future play rather than right now, right? Let's talk about what we're going to look forward to over the weekend in this government shutdown talk.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and you're right. We noted this, that, hey, things were looking a little toppy. There was things under the hood. Thankfully, I was able to sidestep this pullback doing it. and knowing that there's this seasonality that goes on. We know September is generally the worst month of the year.
For sure.
Jeff Hirsch from the Stock Traders Almanac always has a saying to buy in October and get yourself sober. And the reason for that is you generally have a pretty big spike down in the beginning of October. Generally speaking, a buyable event into the end of the year, November and December being really good months. But actually on my screen here, I have from another CMTU I absolutely love, maybe hard to see, so I'll highlight this for you. But from a Ryan Diedrich, who's an amazing CMT, does a lot of statistics on events like these, and actually did one recently released for the government shutdown, showing that 55% of the time when we are in a shutdown, we're higher. And then 86% of the time after the shutdown, we are higher. So these seem like they're kind of, I don't know what the opposite of buy the rumor, sell the news type event is, where everyone gets so worried that a shutdown is coming. And then when it happens, and then after it happens, generally speaking, buying events. So if we combine that with the seasonality of October being generally a good buying event, and if we go into the overall market and we go to the S&P 500, we have the 200-day moving average at 420, and we have that area that we broke out at 420. I said this morning, as long as we are above that 420 area, which is just right here on the S&P 500, I'm buying stocks. I'm owning stocks. If we lose this any significant way, then I got to go. But we have a lot of things that's saying that, hey, we may be in for a short-term bottom on this move. And if this bull market wants to continue, it may be a long-term bottom.
This is maybe a little bit of a personal question, and it's like I have two accounts, so I'll have like my trading account, and then I'll have something that's more of a longer term, not more of a longer term. It's a retirement account, so hopefully it hits in the next 20 or 30 years. I have to take some money out. Do you, when you see that line in the sand there, like that 420 on the SPY? Do you, first of all, do you have a separate account maybe where you're looking for things for longer term? So the answer is yes for that,
yep,
looks like?
Absolutely.
So would that indicate, like, because I talk about this all the time too, I'd be more looking at that for like my shorter term plays if that breaks down. But is that such a significant level that you may just either liquidate or lighten up on even some of your longer term holdings if that does break? How do you feel about a level like that?
So yeah, I use for my retirement account, which is where I do all my longer term trading,
Right.
I use TI Strength, which is an algorithm I think I've talked about a few times before, finds relatively strong names out there. Now, these aren't going to be exciting, a firm where you buy it and it's up, you're trying to make 20, 30% in a few days. That for me is for my short-term trading account and the money that I trade with prop accounts and things like that. For my retirement account, long-term account, what I generally do is I very heavily look at the market. So when the market broke down in the beginning of last year, I just pushed it all to cash and I'll sit in that for a long period of time. If we're going to hold this 420 on the SPY, when I say I'm getting long stocks, I am going to go to that TI Strength algorithm and I'm going to start aggressively divvying up the portfolio into those names. I actually have it open right here. We have some names like you'll see EDU from China, CBOE, which is just the options exchange, is doing phenomenally. BRBR, which is a soybean manufacturer. So these aren't really exciting names, but they're names in really, really strong uptrends. So generally how I treat my retirement account is I pick my levels on the SPY. If we're above those levels on the SPY, I'm buying names from this relative strength thing. If the SPY breaks down those levels, I'll go to cash and move on. Because one of the benefits of if you're trading, and I think the equivalent in the States is an IRA, is that the capital gains are not taxed, right? So you can very quickly say, hey, I don't like the way the market looks. You can go to cash and you don't have to worry about incurring any sort of capital gains on those.
But then, so my whole thing is, and we're just spitballing here, of course, is like, then I have FOMO because like if I go into all cash, and then it's like, what if then it's like a 1 week move? I mean, you're going to tell me, I know you're going to say, just get back in. But just jump right back in. But then it's like, where do you start buying again? Is that where you start looking at a 200 period moving average maybe? And I know you talked about the relative strength in that scanner that you have, but like, what if you just wanted to buy the market? at some point. Is there a key level that over the history of time, do you looking at weekly charts maybe? If I said, you know what, I want to wait to see where the bottom's going to be in the NASDAQ potentially, or maybe where there's going to be a bottom in the SPY, the greater market. Like when do we say, okay, I'm now 100% into cash. I'd like to maybe just go into ETFs, not individual names, because there's a lot of individual traders out there that they'll swing trade, like you said, individual names, but then maybe they don't want to look at an Apple. They'll just say, I want to buy the NASDAQ, or I want to buy the RSP or the S&P 500 or some dividend ETF or something like that. Is there a longer term chart, time frame, and then maybe an indicator that we could suggest to some of the traders out there to say, hey, if you are in all cash because you're nervous about what's coming, what would you look at to say, hey, I'm going to start to buy this back, and when? And like, what would be something that we want to look at?
Yeah, so it's a great question. There's actually a pretty good statistical example and study out there, and I have this up on the chart now.
Perfect.
And it's simply the 10-month moving average
10
on the SMA, and this has been very heavily studied and outperforms the market in the long run versus buy and hold in a risk-adjusted way. And the rules of this are incredibly simple if you're talking about kind of more passive, hands-off investing, and it's simply that you own the market when it closes, when a monthly close happens, which just happened right now, above the 10-month moving average, and you are out of the market when it closes below the 10-month moving average. So for example, 2018, 19, or this area, got you out for a lot of that, right? You were out in 2020 for the pandemic and then back in right here. And this actually just triggered long around $400 or so. But if we get another down month, you're back out. And the idea is just simply, again, a monthly close above the 10-day and a monthly close below the 10-day. And you guys can look that up online. It's very heavily studied with really great long-term performance returns.
Okay, well, hey, look, wow. All right, like I'm learning something new all the time. I think it was, what was that saying that Brian had? Oh yeah, he said, if there's, that's what it was. Okay, he said, if you're looking at the SPY and you're gonna day trade something, he said, if there's a gap, and it gaps down, and I'm not gonna forget this because it rhymes, and of course it's a Brian Shannon thing. You're gonna hear what gap rhymes with in a second. If there's a gap, wait for VWAP. So that was a play that he gave me, and I've actually looked at that the last couple days, and it's worked out pretty good there. Waiting for the gap down, then waiting for the pull back up into a volume-weighted average or a 50-period moving average, something like that. And then right now, we're learning all about that 10-month. I never thought I'd hear that, but hey, that's a well-studied thing, and I want to thank you for that. Okay, I only have like a minute and a half left, but I mean, it's my show, so whatever. But is there any last words of anything that you want to maybe talk about heading into next week? But I'm only going to give you 35, 45 seconds.
Okay, that's super easy. So I have up on my screen here. These are heat maps we have on our web version. Definitely come check them out. Basically showing sectors that are down and sectors that are up. So we have uranium, we have XLE down, we have XLK, XLY up. So energy might be over for a period of time. We may see a rotation back into tech. So I'm going to be watching that going into next week. Now, remember, rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market. So you have to move from one sector to another sector to another sector. If we're seeing the beginnings of that starting, then I'm going to really pay attention, because if that's going to occur, I need to sell some energy names and I need to buy some tech.
Yeah, actually, I forgot. I did want to talk to you about that XLE, but it is down a couple percentage points right now. It did try to break higher, and it rejected a couple times. They're up at that $93 level. So I feel like I'm probably going to get out of some of the XLE, and I like that call going back into tech. I actually recently just bought some Oracle and Amazon. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. I'm running out of time. Thank you so much, Michael Noss. Enjoy your weekend, man. And everyone can find you. It's at the bottom on X, at Michael Noss, CMT. So thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll check you next week.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Ciao, my guy. That's Trader Talk. Okay. I saw in the chat here, Natalia doesn't want me to go. Everyone wants the show to go on, but hey, I've got a wife at home, and I got to go visit my family, because today, finally, we don't have any events tonight. So I said, what do you want to do? Grab some pizza, watch a movie with the kids? I don't know. We'll see what they want to do. But finally, not a day. So last night I took my son to chess club. So he did that. My daughter was at a shooting clinic and then on the ice last night in hockey. Tomorrow I have, they each have a game and they each have a practice. My brother-in-law is coming into town as well. And then we're golfing. Hallelujah. Finally, the 4th or 5th time this year I'm getting out. We're going to be golfing on Sunday and it's going to be gorgeous weather. So I hope it's great weather wherever you guys are as well. Here in Toronto, 85 degrees this weekend. So that should be nice. We're hoping for good weather there on Sunday as we go golfing. I'm going to miss my daughter's game on Sunday. I hate doing that, but what up to all of our super fans today. This says fan funding, but really trader funding right now. Thank you so much for watching the show. It's Jeremy today. It's Nimit. Hey, my friend Nimit. What's up? My Singapore friend Nimit. He visited us here. We went out for lunch. That was fantastic. Caroline, thank you. Carolina, thank you so much. Mitchell, Willis, Adham, D. Westermeyer. You and Neil have a bet. But by the way, if you come here and we go out for dinner, I don't care who wins the bet. I'm joining you guys, and one of you guys is paying for me. So what's up to D. Westermeyer? I'll get the drinks. What's up to John as well, new member, and Vince. And a big shout out to everybody who's here. Let's do a quick little roll call coming through right now. Thank you so much to everybody. Bovine, that's here today. Matt, thank you so much, Matt, for everything that you give to us and to the show. A lot of great ideas. Rich Naples as well. Great place, Naples there. Shout out to Naples. Grab that pizza, man. Love that there in Italy, the best. Deez is here. Ponzi Fonzie's here. John is here as well. It's roll call time. Mr. Long Shorts. That's the best thing when that's your name because you could be long and short. Shout out to Mr. Longshorts as well. Hugh, you enjoy your weekend, Hugh. Tony's here as well. Steve is here. But the one thing that I want everybody to do, if you're still here with me, first of all, who's this guy? Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. Let's get going. Only 1,400 watching. That's okay. I won't blame the other 1,000 that somehow disappeared. Thank you so much for watching again today. We can go over, I was going to go over Palantir. Let's just do that real quick because I don't want to disappoint anybody that was maybe waiting for that. So let's go over Palantir real quick. Palantir today. Now, again, what a hot name it was right off the jump. There's no doubt about that. It really got going. Look at this, man. Look where we started, $16. And again, here I am making too many trades. Well, welcome to my world. $16, that's where we started today. Look at this, all the way up to $16.80, right? Again, watch out for that 17 fade. That's it right there. There it comes back in. Then look, like I said, started to defend the 50 period, started defending VWAP. So I say, wow, where is this bottom? Where is the bottom? So lost. All these are sells. Until eventually it came to my favorite indicator, the 200 period for pullbacks. We waited for that. It comes in. Take all that money, then look at this magical level of 16. We started defend. We talked along at 16. We got out upside here, VWAP, 50 periods, and so on and so forth. And we made all the money back in this dip just by waiting for this 16 fill. So I want to talk about it because 16 held. It held into the close. And this is tomorrow's trade today. We will be watching Palantir on Monday live, so hopefully that all goes well. Hey man, if you're golfing today, tomorrow, this weekend, hit your balls straight, hit well, and I'll be back on Monday. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. A big shout out to Michael Noss. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, we're going to do this all again next week. I hope you liked the recap show. We put in a lot of time. I mean, I'm on the air, then running right over here to give it to you. We'll have earnings abound next week as well. And we're going to go over everything every single day. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sean Katina. This is Trader TV Live, and this is the recap show. Have a great weekend, everybody. Ciao. Coming home, my wife.